This is the PLUR Podcast, Episode 7. What's up, GMP gang? It's your girl, Give Me PLUR, and coming up on this episode, we'll discuss how EDM and raving can help veterans who struggle with severe depression, anxiety, and thoughts of suicide, with special guest Justin Evangelista, aka Sixtus. All that and more on the way. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the PLUR Podcast. It's your girl, Give Me PLUR. Obviously, we are here at Episode 7. I have my boy Justin here with me.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Justin.
What's up?
So before I introduce Justin, or before he introduces himself, this podcast is very special. I know I say that about every episode because every episode is special. We only do it once a week, but this episode is special because this is dedicated to all the veterans out there. I myself am also a veteran. If you've been listening to any of the episodes prior to this, if you haven't, welcome, and make sure you check out our previous episodes leading up to this one. You would better understand it by listening to episode 6. But basically, Justin is here to share his story, and I don't want to get too detailed. I'm going to let him go ahead and introduce himself. Go ahead, Justin.
Hey, guys. My name is Justin Evangelista, and people might know me as Sixtus, the photographer who's in love with neons. Yeah, that's mostly what I do. I was in the Marine Corps, and yeah, I mean, I don't know what else.
Okay, you were in the Marines. How long were you in the Marine Corps for?
So I was there for about almost 4 years. It just cut off right under, because I left due to depression issues that I had while I was there.
Okay.
So yeah.
Understandable. I had a similar situation myself. You want to tell any of the people listening out there, your rave name, or maybe you said your Instagram handle? What was that?
Sixtus. Yeah, that's probably the only alias that I'll go with.
Okay, it's 3 underscores, then Sixtus.
Yeah.
Sixtus, and then 3 underscores.
Yes, exactly it.
Okay. And do you go by a rave name, or Sixtus, or you just go by Justin?
Yeah, I would say just Sixtus. That came from. So I, when I was doing photography at the start of it, basically what I did was I looked at all the stuff that I wanted to do in the future. So one of them was to visit the Sistine Chapel, and then I found out that the person that created or built the Sistine Chapel was Pope Sixtus, and I was like, man, that's a cool ass name.
Yeah.
So I was like,
I remember you telling me about this. Yeah. That's so funny, you guys. So when I first got into contact with Justin because of his wife, Marilyn, who is super beautiful, by the way. That's how I even met her. We were extras on Chicago PD. I saw her in the library when we were shooting the scene, and I was just like, oh my God, this bitch is fine as hell. And I was ran up to her after the scene. I was like, can we be friends? And then we exchanged numbers, and then she told me, she was following me on Snapchat, and she saw that I was remove rave photography and stuff like that, and then she connected us together, and we've gotten even closer than me and Marilyn have. And I remember when the first time we talked over the phone, I was super high, and you were explaining to me. I was like, what is Sixtus? And you were explaining to me that name. I was like, oh, that is so fucking cool. Yeah. But yeah, that's a dope ass name. I know I just went off into a little background story, guys. But okay, so now let's get back to your depression. So what was the onset of that? Was the military the cause of that? Or did it start in the military? Did you always have depression prior to?
So I guess to preface that, even before the military, I was pretty a happy guy. I didn't even think depression would exist with me. And even after the military, I was I didn't know whether or not I had depression until I had it diagnosed with a therapist, and they were like, yeah, you have legitimate depression. But I want to say that it was a multitude of things that that gave me depression. It was the lack of seeing my family, not seeing my wife enough, and then the situations with being I want to say just the lifestyle of being in the Marines was like overwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, I would the few the proud. You know what I'm saying? Like that fucking training is no joke. You guys go through like at least what 2 to 4 months more training than any other branch. Like how many more months?
It was.
Cause you do training just to learn how to be a Marine. There's like
so there's a 3-month boot camp, and then after that is a 2-month more long infantry course.
Right.
Which is
that's just to learn how to be a Marine, and then you go into your MOS. Like
right, and it's
you guys call it MOS?
Yeah, and then after those 2 months, I went to another 2 months of training to be security forces, which is my real MOS.
Okay.
So like it's a lot of training. Like literally the first year is all training.
Yeah, definitely. That and for you guys listening out there, MOS is just like your job that you picked. So you were in a specialty field, so you did extra training even after that? Or was that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because most people like after the 2 months of infantry training, then they'll just go into the fleet, which is like, they go to their actual like base, and then for us, we had to go into more training.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing, and that's we're 1%ers either way. You know what I'm saying? So and then the fact that you chose to be in the Marines, that's even more honorable. I feel like I know I don't like to compare branches because everybody does their part. Like I know we talk shit about each other, but I honestly, like me just personally, I respect the Marines. Like I hold the Marines like all the way up here, and most branches do. I just hold them at a different standard because of the intense training that you guys go through just initially. I'm for everybody out there listening, like I am an Army veteran, so we're just as good. Our basic training is pretty tough. I feel like we have pretty good PT, but anyway, when did you start raving?
I want to say that was actually that was during I want to say like 2 years into the military when I took like on leave. It was like a long leave actually, like almost like 2-3 weeks. And during that time was Spring Awakening, which was my first time like really raving, like at a festival. Like I've never been to like a festival because I always thought like, it's like, man, who goes and spends money when I can just listen to it in my car or whatever? I was like,
little did you know.
Yeah, I was completely wrong. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's.
All right, so you said took leave. Like, where did you leave from?
So that was when I was in Virginia, and during that time, I think it might have been some kind of like, it might have been spring break for Marilyn when she was in school, and I wanted to take that in conjunction, like so that we can see each other.
Marilyn, your wife, right?
Yeah, and
I know she's your wife, but they don't.
But yeah, then we just did that, and we basically, like me, her, and these 2 other people that joined us. That was our first time raving.
Okay, and how was it? How was the experience?
It was pretty magical for sure.
I like that word, magical.
Yeah, it was
a nice word.
Yeah, it was my first time taking MDMA, and I was like, man, this is
nice.
This is incredible.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Was it your friend's first time taking?
It was all of ours, yeah, including Marilyn's too. Yeah.
Okay. I know, just to get off topic a little bit, why did you take MDMA? Was it something that a lot of people like said that you're supposed to do, or is it something you've always wanted to do when you go to a rave? Or
it was more, I think, what for me, like when I heard it, they said that it would just kind of like enhance the experience. So I was kind of like, to me, I'm pretty open. Like I'm down with whatever.
Yeah.
So I wanted to experience it too, and on the environment that it's supposed to be at, and yeah, I was not let down. It was
nice,
incredible.
Yeah, I've had those experiences as well. Ecstasy definitely plays an important role, an important part in this scene.
Mm-hmm.
It is like the holy sacrament.
Yes.
Like literally. But now as far as your depression goes, now you said you were depressed during your military career, and going to this festival, taking ecstasy, having these like this euphoric experience. Would you say that helped with your depression?
Yeah, I would say that it did. It wasn't more so like, I guess it was like, an escape type thing where it's like, I'm not thinking about what I had next for my training, what I had to do, who am I going to see for like months and months. And I guess it was like, just the ability to kind of just be like, hey, like I'm enjoying the moment. I'm not worrying about like what's going to happen after.
Yeah, I feel that. So we have literally kind of like similar experiences, because when I was in the military, I didn't start raving until like my second year of being in the military, because I joined in like 2011, and then I started raving in 2013 at the end of the year. And I was going through a lot of stuff with my chain of command. I had just got back from Afghanistan, so I just had trouble adjusting, and it was just very rough for me. And I was having like anxiety, like panic attacks. I didn't know that they were panic attacks then, but now that I'm older and I've been diagnosed, like I know that they were panic attacks. But when I got introduced to raving and going to festivals, it was like a whole nother dimension opened up. I felt like I found my family. I felt like I belonged.
Oh yeah, that's like one thing they don't mention is like the scene itself, like the community is like very welcoming. Like,
yeah,
they're very they're like, how do we explain it? Like if someone like were to step on my shoe and they'd be like, hey man, I'm sorry, like
yeah,
I'm just like, whoa, okay, I didn't expect that kind of
exactly.
apology. I was like, whoa.
Exactly. Lots of rubs and shit, just like, oh, I'm so sorry, like, and I'm just like, oh, it's okay. Like
it's like, you fucked up my shoe, but it's cool.
Yeah, like you don't even be fucking worried about it.
Yeah.
Now, what would you say is your favorite festival to go to?
I mean, I've only been to Lollapalooza and Spring Awakening, so like Chicago festivals, but I haven't been to like, I was pretty close to EDC, which I still want to experience at least once, just to say that like
you should come with me next year.
Yeah, I mean I feel like that was in our list of things to do next year.
Come, because I'm like trying to get a group together. Side note, guys, I'm trying to get a group together to go with me for like the RV for camping.
Okay.
Because I have the ticket, so now I'm just like trying to rent an RV and get people. I have at least probably like 3 people, but I need 8 for it to be like $60 per person. So yeah, guys, if you're trying to go to EDC, like you should have planned it like yesterday or last month. 2 months ago.
Didn't they sell out, or is there like a waiting list or something?
It's sold out now. Oh. But don't be discouraged by that, because every time tickets sell out, like usually by like a month or the month of, like a month before or the month of the event, they usually like people are like selling them like crazy. And I do not know this for sure, but I think there is a platform within the EDC website that allows people to resell their tickets like safely. I think they just take a small cut, but don't quote me on that. I just think I think I saw that option on there. Yeah. So also guys, check out Ticket DM. That's a ticket exchange platform, and it's a Black-owned business. It's really, really nice, and it's safe. You get to exchange tickets, not just for festivals, but for concerts too. And it's really nice. Ticket DM. They're not sponsoring me or anything really, but I do work with them. I am an ambassador, but like they didn't like pay me or nothing to say it. I just like really like the platform. I want more people to use it in Chicago too, because it has a lot of value. It's better than using like Craigslist, but more people just need to use it so that it can be like more valuable.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, do you think you'd re-enlist?
Man, that's a tough question, because I feel like I wouldn't mind, but I wouldn't go back into the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Just because of the lifestyle. that alone, like, I know that it's like, I feel like it's like, oh, well, you went to the Marine Corps knowing that, right? Like, yeah, but it's like when you actually live it, it's like a different experience. Like,
yeah,
even
you don't know until you know.
right, like people play like Call of Duty. I can't like say that it's like the same or anything like that, but like, you know, you're doing all these things and it's kind of like easy on the eyes, but then like when you're living it, when you're doing it every day, doing all the training, like, you know, burning in the sun, and you're just like, man, what the hell?
Yeah, it is not the same thing as the movies. Like the movies are like a really fun depiction and exciting depiction of it, but it's almost like it is a 9 to 5. Like it's a everyday, like, and then it's 9 to 5, you're doing a job all day long, but it's like, but with times 10 because you're on call 24/7. So there was this one time where I went to, I was stationed in Colorado at the time, and I had a boyfriend who actually was the one who got me into raves and going to festivals and stuff. But I had a boyfriend at the time who lived in Denver, and I was stationed in Colorado Springs, so it's like an hour drive. And like I would go out there every weekend to see him. It was an hour 45 drive. And one time I was there, I like just got there for the weekend, and they called my ass back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like so I had to come back, drive another 2 hours, come back. Like, so like that don't sound like a lot, but it is a lot when you're trying to like decompress and get away from the grind of being obedient and being honorable and just super shiny star soldier or Marine all the time. Like, it can take a toll.
They don't mention like for me, like when I was stationed in 29 Palms, which was in California, it's like about 2 hours away from LA, and just to even like in the weekend, like the weekend is for you, but even then, like if you want to go to LA, you have to mention it to them because like you have to get permission, like to leave 2 hours away.
Exactly.
Like, and I'm just like, man, that's like not,
yeah,
you know?
I was supposed to get permission too.
Yeah,
I kind of
like a radius.
I just kind of lied about it.
Yeah,
but I had some pretty cool NCOs too, though. I had some NCOs who didn't really trip that hard. They were just trying to have fun themselves,
right?
Because we were all kind of young. But yeah, definitely you have to ask for permission. Like, just imagine being an adult. I mean, we were young adults, but you know, trying to be your own person, have this independence. This is around a time where you're trying to like learn to be like, you're learning who you are and you're trying to be an adult. But you also have this like parent that could like put you in jail if you talk back to them, not just give you a whooping, but put you in jail, take away your pay, put you on extra duty for like a month. I was put, listen, I got in trouble once. This was after deployment. So after deployment, I was like very hostile, and I got into it with a lot of people all the time. And I remember it was the straw that broke the camel's back. I had got into it with this girl driving on post. This woman, she ended up being a NCO's wife or not an NCO. She was like a captain's wife, but he wasn't shit. Like he was nobody. He wasn't in my chain of command. He wasn't even in my unit. I think he was like artillery or something. But the point is this lady like followed me from the gate, because she cut me off first of all, so I cursed her out. And then while we're coming through the gate, we're cursing each other out, because you know you have to go through separate lanes. MP checks you when you get on base. And I'm just like, bitch, like fuck you, da da da. She's like, who is your commander, da da da. I'm like, bitch, fuck you, like. And then the MPs are like, calm down, you gotta calm down. I'm like, no, fuck this bitch. She just cut me off, like, who the fuck do she think she is, like. And I was like really hot then, because I'm like, I really didn't, you know, I'm from Chicago, and really from anywhere. I feel like most people are like, you know, you can't disrespect somebody just because, you know, just because your husband has some rank. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we got on base, and she followed me. She followed me around base. What I should have did was just drive off base, call the cops, and say, this is the crazy lady following me. But my dumb ass went to my chain of command, so she knew where I was. She followed me in the building, and I ended up getting in trouble. And they put me on extra duty, and like, I forget what it's called. It's been a long time, but they put me on extra duty, but it was called something else.
Not an NJP.
It was I did get an Article 15. That was my first Article 15 I ever got, and which is crazy because I was wild, but they gave me.
I got 2 NJPs.
Oh, okay, gangster. But they put me on extra duty for like 60. No, that's what they restricted me to post for 60 days. Do not. This is when I was about to commit suicide. I tried to commit suicide after like the 20th day, I think. It was intense having to be in uniform 24/7 for 60 days. Not being able to go out with friends, not being able to actually leave post, only being able to go to your duty station in the gym and the defect. Like, it drove me insane. And there was a lot of other stuff going on too, but going to raves and listening to like EDM music, like, or EDM, I hate to say EDM music, but like EDM, it is the only thing that saved me, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was like NJP'd, like I was like, they restricted me on base, and like I had to be in uniform all the time, and that, like, living like each day, like just doing straight work, like 24 hours, just like, and you're just like, man.
So wait, what did you get? NJP. NJP.
Non-judicial punishment, I think that's how it's called.
I don't know if
or
we
ninja
call it
punch.
that. Ninja punch. I don't know if we call it that. I've been out for a long time. I think NJP is right for us too.
I got NJP'd for, so one of them was just like the dumbest reason. There was a gunnery sergeant that was new, like he had just taken over, and then this was when I was still moving into 29 Palms, and I guess like what the case was that they were making an example out of me, and I didn't show up to a formation, which is like, to get NJP'd for not showing up to a formation that I didn't even know about. I was like, what the heck? Like, no one told me. I'm off base. Like, I have like housing, and I was just like, so I'm getting punished for something I didn't even do, because obviously the person in charge of me was throwing me under the bus, saying like, I texted him, like, and I'm
fucking
just like,
liar.
Yeah, and I was like, I didn't get the text. Like, I
hate NCOs like that.
Yeah, and that's what kind of sucks, because like during peacetime, in any branch, like, they worry about their themselves. Like, that's all they care about, is like either like looking perfect, just to make the rank, and like, and they just like throw people under the bus, like, which in my case, like what he did, where he just like, didn't say anything to defend me because he didn't know me. I just moved in, and I got restricted on base for like a month, and I was just like, wow, this is a great way to start my new chain, like my new base over here. And I'm just like,
damn.
Yeah, that kind of I think that's what really, like, the second NJP got me, like, that's what pushed me over like the limit of, like, I think that's where it started to happen, like with my depression.
So what was your second NJP about?
So this was in Virginia. That was my second one. My first one was in Virginia, and I actually got kicked out of security forces because of it, and they moved me to 29 Palms because the chain of command there was like, because that's the worst thing that they could send you to, is 29 Palms, because 29 Palms is like an actual desert. Like, there's nothing there, like nothing for you to do.
Damn.
And you're like 2 hours away from like everything.
It was kind of like a punishment.
Yeah, like he's like, here, you're just gonna go to this like nasty ass fucking like shit place. And
damn.
The first one was because my friend was like shoplifting, and I didn't rat him out, and we got in trouble at the Nex. It's like, you know what the Nex is, right?
Yeah, the PX.
Yeah. And so like basically that's what happened. Like,
so he had stole some Skittles.
some video games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
what?
Yeah, and then like,
well, I know who to take with me on a robbery.
Yeah, I was just like, dude, this fucking sucks, man. Because like that was even longer. That was like almost 2 or 3 months long.
Damn.
And yeah.
So that was the first one.
Yeah, and that's what really, like, I was like, man, this sucks a lot.
Yeah, and then the second one was
in 29 pounds for missing formation.
Yeah. So though that's another thing is like, you can have the most amazing experience being in the military, or you could have the absolute worst horrific experience. And horrific being like either judicial punishment for small petty shit. Not saying that I don't deserve the punishment I got, because mine was a little bit different. But I have to say this though, like, it was a lot of shit going on prior to that, that really pushed me over the edge, because I could have handled that a lot differently, but because of my chain of command and who they were, and like just all the stuff that they put me through, I kind of like just like went fucking crazy on that lady in front of everybody. So they were like, okay, we have to do something. But it's like, you only have to do something because you ain't did shit for me for my mental health prior to, and you've been doing a lot of like little shady shit, like how you been getting in trouble for like this little random shit, like but so horrific being like petty shit that they just pick on, trying to make an example, like you said, peacetime. They're just doing busy work. They're just trying to figure out different ways that they can make rank. So when there is that first of all, rank is money, and then two, you know, when you go overseas, like you want to have higher rank, so you don't have to do a lot of shit. You can get your soldiers to do whatever the fuck you want. Not saying that that's a good leader, but that's just how it is sometimes, you know. Everybody's human. And then another horrific could be, you know, you actually, you know, see somebody die, or you get a leg blown off, or you actually have physical harm done to you or seen done to others during, you know, wartime, like overseas. And these different things cause this like psychotic break for us. Like, you know, I'm not saying that I had the worst, most terrible experience. I have stuff that has happened to me, and that I've seen that no one knows about, and that I'd probably never tell. But everybody goes away from the military, I feel like, with something, with a little extra baggage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think the psychological part of being punished for an extended period of time is, especially in the military, where like, you know, money is involved and your freedom is taken away. It's like, man, this sucks a lot.
Yeah, it's scary. Mm-hmm. You know, I just want to mention this one thing. I know we're getting off topic, but President Trump, I don't like to call him President Trump. I don't like him, but Trump, they call him Agent Orange. Agent Orange. Sorry if you guys like Trump. I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers. This ain't about politics. Yeah. But Trump, he had released those three military personnel. Those three. One was a SEAL. I don't know if they were all SEALs. I gotta look it up. I hate that I'm bringing it up and I don't know the facts, but basically he reinstated one person's rank. He got one person out of jail, and I thought it was like really interesting because one of the guys, he got his rank back because he had got demoted, I think, because he had posed with a dead prisoner of war, and he was like smiling, I think. This was like back in the day, I think, in Iraq. Okay. Like during Iraq and stuff. But honestly, I could be butchering this whole story, but from what I read, it just, some people were like kind of pissed because they're like, you know, what makes us different from ISIS and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, well, there really isn't a big difference from us. We're just on our side. You know what I'm saying? They probably see us as fucking evil. You know what I'm saying? Especially for the crimes that these people committed. One of the other guys, he was in prison for 6 years, and he was supposed to be in there for like 19 years. And President Trump, he got him out. And his reasoning for that, the guy went to prison for 9 years or 6 years because he had shot up some Afghanis or Iraq, or how do you say it? Iraqis, or I don't know how to say it. I'm just gonna say Afghanis. The people that were overseas, he shot them. They were on a bicycle, like they were on a bike, and I guess he thought that they were they had bombs or whatever. Like, I don't know. Those are some really tense times. I know that there was some crazy fucked up shit that our soldiers have done.
Yeah.
But I also know that there have been times where we've been prosecuted when, you know, we're in a hostile environment, we're in a hostile situation. Right. So, you know, I thought that was just real interesting. I don't have too much to say, like, what's right or what's wrong about it, because I think war is war, you know.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
War is war if, you know, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you know, fighting for your country in the most ethical way you possibly, the most ethical and moral way you possibly can. I'm not saying that war is war, it's okay to rape or shit, like, or like just kill just to kill, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I don't know too much about the release of like those servicemen, but like what I did was like I just basically I kind of cut out like politics in general, because every time I go into it and like start researching, I just get like really sad, and I'm just like, man.
Yeah. And then you like, just start looking at raves to go to.
Yep.
Okay. No, but yeah. And you know what? Another reason why I feel like I really gravitated towards going to raves and festivals is because it's almost like another family. I know like the military, and this is just me personally, but the military was like a family, and I had like a sense of camaraderie with people, and no matter like all the bullshit that I went through, I made a lot of connections and friends, and I learned about teamwork. And that happens a lot. That happens a lot at festivals, especially like something like Burning Man, which I've never gone to, and I pray that I get to go this year. I know that's not a festival, it's more like a community, but it's still like under the same principles as PLUR, and it's still under the same music. It's all about EDM.
Yeah. I know like when you're obviously like when you're on MDMA, like for me, like I'm very like vigilant when it comes to like, oh, did you drink water? Did you do this? Did you lose your phone? Like I'm constantly like watching out for everybody.
Yeah. Have you gone to a camping festival?
No, I haven't. I know that Electric Forest is kind of like one.
It is one.
Oh, okay. So like that's one of the ones that we were looking at.
Okay.
To go.
So I want to go to that one too, but I'm going to at DEF CON, and because Electric Forest is only going to be 1 week from now on, I think, because they're leaving like a big footprint in the forest. They're only going to do 1 weekend, so I'm going to miss it because DEF CON is in Amsterdam, and it's not like I can go a day and then come back.
Right.
I don't have a jet yet. But yeah, definitely that camaraderie, that feeling of belonging, that oneness that we feel is so important. And especially for us military people, us veterans, like it's something we're familiar with, and I just think it's even better, really. I feel like because there's a lot more love. I feel like at a festival, music does things to people. It brings out something else within someone.
Yeah, I think it definitely has to deal with like, you can't explain certain things, especially like the experiencing military stuff. Like when I was explaining stuff to like Marilyn, my wife, like it was hard to put into words like how I felt about like everything that was happening. And it's kind of the same with like going to like a rave. It's like it sounds like, obviously like you'll see like videos of like people like, you know, just like going crazy and just like having fun, but it's like when you experience it and when you're in it, it's like a different thing. Like
there's a lot more behind that. You know, you got to think about all the things that lead up to the actual event. You calling your friends, your rave family, you know, figuring out hotels, costs of Ubers, or, you know, who's going to bring what to the RV, you know, what type of toiletries and all that stuff are we going to bring, like what are you going to contribute to your community, to your rave family. You know, what about, you know, the dress? What are we going to dress like? Are we going to dress up together? Right. Are we going to look alike? Like all those things create this euphoria in itself. And like you said, like, you know, it was kind of a distraction for you when you were going through tough times, like it was a way for you to escape, and there's nothing wrong with escaping. I feel like if you do it healthy and it's not, and you, as long as you're taking care of your business and your regular life. But
like anything with like anything like drug related, or like maybe even alcohol and like smoking, just like if you do it like in moderation, you don't do it like ruining your health, or it's like taking control of you, like then like do it in like moderation.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's healthy, like it's fine.
Yeah. Sorry about that ding, guys. You know, this is like, I'm infamous for this fucking ding. I always forget to I put everything on silent except for my fucking computer every time. Okay. But yeah, definitely. So what do you do now besides raving? What do you do now to cope with your depression?
One of the biggest contributing factors to like me staying sane is like photography, and that came from my wife like modeling just like a little bit here and there, just like, you know, for fun. And I was like, oh, maybe I should just be the photographer to take pictures for her, like, you know.
Right. You don't want no other nigga doing it.
Yeah, I don't want nobody checking. Anyways, like, so I was just basically, I borrowed my friend's DSLR, and then I was like, it's like, man, this is really hard. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But eventually it got to the point where when I was doing it, I would go outside. And for a while, like after I left the Marines, like I want to say for like a year, I was just like inside the house, like just like waking up. It's already dark outside because, you know, I don't sleep that much. And then when I do sleep, I wake up like at 6 p.m. And you know, it just repeats, like you're just kind of like in this like hole like that you can't get out of. But eventually, like when I was doing photography, I would go outside. I would like, you know, eat with like everybody else, socialize, and eventually it became a habit where I would go out regularly, and then I was like, oh, I feel like I'm a normal person now.
Yeah. For sure. That's awesome. Your photography is, by the way, amazing.
Thank you.
I don't know if you guys know this, but if you check on my Instagram, a lot of my pictures, most of my pictures are shot with Justin. He is a great photographer, and I have had him come with me to different events like Spring Awakening, North Coast. Like, he does photography there. He shoots all my stuff when I go to these different places. Our goal actually is just to fucking get into every festival and like be this team, this rock star team, just fucking shooting pics and, you know, that's getting posted. We working on the websites, guys, so just stay tuned.
Yeah,
for sure. Like, but your pictures are phenomenal, and you were really good when we first met. What was that, like a year or two ago?
Yeah,
maybe
like 2 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but you're like way better. Like, you have like, you're starting to like hone in on your craft, and I could totally understand how that could help you with your depression. Just focusing on something that brings other people joy as well as yourself. But you got to think, you're giving someone their vision, like in hand, you know, creating their vision. Every time we shoot together, I tell you what I want, or I create the look with my style or whatever. I might tell you what I want, and you pick a great location and you do the lighting. Even though there are sometimes I'm just like, oh, this ain't gonna look right, the lighting's too dark, and then you fucking like come at me with all this like glowy neon shit. I'm like, how the fuck did you do that? Like, you got skills, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the contributing factors to that style is because I would wake up like always around like when the sun is going down. Like, I had nothing to take pictures of during the day, so like I would shoot at night, and that's partly why neons attracted me, because that's like the only source of light. And then also this other famous Instagrammer, his name is Brandon Wolfel. I'm sure like a lot of photographers or creatives might have heard of him, but he takes a lot of inspiration from like nighttime stuff, which is where
I think you showed me his profile.
Yeah.
He's pretty good too. He's pretty good. I like your shit better though.
Oh, thank you.
I like your shit. It's really good, and I can't wait till EDC Insomniac Events is like hitting our line like, give me PLUR 6s. We need you right now.
There you
like,
go. That's it.
We need you to cover this event right now. Like, okay, here we come on the way. Okay, so now let's talk about music. What are some songs that have helped you? Some specifically EDM. Like, what are some songs that really just that you can think of that you're like, okay, this has like helped me with my depression, my anxiety, my sadness?
One of my favorite like artists ever is Porter Robinson, and
I like him.
I feel like with his music, like what's interesting to me, like since I've seen like quite a few artists, is that people like a lot of, I want to say like, I'm not calling out artists or anything, but for me in terms of like style, where some artists will, you know, do a remix of like a song from another person.
Yeah.
And with Porter, it's like, you know, for me, like I came there to see him. I didn't want to hear anybody else. Like it's nice to hear other people's music or their remix of it, but when Porter is playing, he's playing Porter music, like his music, and it's like that's why I wanted to see him, because him as an artist himself and like the music that he plays, like that was like one of the, like he gave me like this like feeling of like I'm in outer space type thing. Like I'm just like I'm in another place. Like you know, it's pretty cool. Yeah,
that's awesome. And so for me, I really like Cascade. Cascade is a big one for me. I'm like I really love house. When I was first starting out raving, like house music was a big one for me. Also, I really loved Benny Benassi.
Okay, yeah.
Good songs, like just what's that one song by him? I know I'm gonna just a whole bunch of EDM people are gonna be like, oh, you fucking poser, because I can't think of the fucking song. It's God damn it, come on, Imani, think. It's the one where they're rapping.
I mean, we can look it up.
What is the fucking song? Look it up real quick.
Let's look up
Benny Benassi.
These are
it's the one where he remixes
his top 5. So I don't know, like
not Satisfaction, which I fucking love, but it goes like don't. We're gonna have to cut this out.
Is it one of his older stuff?
It's not that old. It's a remix of a rap group called I Can't Believe I Can't fucking remember the name of it. I'm gonna have to look it up on mine. Well, you tell me another one of yours. Y'all better not come for me in the comments. You tell me another one of yours while I look up the name of this.
Yeah, so I mean, I want to say that Porter was like probably like number 1 for me, and then other close seconds are I guess when I first went to Spring Awakening, oh my god, what was his name? It's not LS. Oh, Martin Garrix, I think.
Martin Garrix?
Yeah.
That's a throwback. Like I don't listen to Martin Garrix anymore, but I listened to him back in the day, like 2013.
It's interesting because, like, you know, I was like, back then, like, the music, like, especially Chainsmokers, like, I don't like them now. I like the music that they did before they got really big, and it just, like, to see them change, like, drastically, and I was just like, I don't know. So I kind of like deviated from other EDM artists.
Well, okay. So artists, and you mean also like genre, like
yeah, genres, yeah, for sure.
So what are you more into now? So before it was like trance or was it?
I don't know how to categorize Porter's music, but there are a few artists that are similar in vibe, which I think like what's his name? Madion.
Okay, I don't know who that is.
He just recently came out with like a new album, but his stuff is amazing. This other guy named Lion, I think they toured together too. But
not Seven Lions.
Seven Lions is good.
Okay, that's not who you're talking about.
Actually, what's funny
though.
is like my first time tripping acid, like I was okay. So like this is a funny story. Like I was my first time tripping on acid. I was like playing video games. I was like waiting for it to kick in. Like this was just like at the house. Like I just wanted to like do it in a controlled environment. And I was playing this zombie game called Killing Floor 2. It's like you're just shooting zombies and stuff. And then like 30 minutes in, I just started like, man, like these zombies look really fucking scary. Like I'm like getting scared because like me and my friend Joseph, like he was already tripping, like, and he was like watching me and he's like, dude, I can't look at that screen, like that's too scary. So then we're like, all right, you know what, like maybe let's just like listen to some music now that we're feeling it. And 7 Lines was like one of the like the music that we were listening
that calmed you down.
Yeah, and it was like I was like, whoa, man, like 7 Lines is freaking amazing, dude.
You know what, bro? That's so. I have to listen to 7 Lines because I don't listen to them ever. EDM Twitter is so fucking like thirsty for their dick. Like they talk about them all the time. So I'm like, I have to listen to them and be, maybe I'll be thirsty as well for the cum. Like I don't know what the fuck. Everybody loves them. So like I'm gonna check them out for sure this week. But I found the song. It's called Bring the Noise. It's a remix of Public Enemy song Bring the Noise, The Unstoppable, no. Public Enemy #1, 5-0 said freeze, then I got numb, but no, never had a gun. It's a really dope ass song.
All right, you're gonna have to send it to me later.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to play it for you later. But when I heard this song, I was doing shrooms with my ex. And we were like smoking hookah, and all we had was the TV light on. And this is when Pandora was the shit. Yeah. Like everybody listened to Pandora, would just pick a fucking category and just let it go.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So and we had, I don't know what we were listening to, maybe Benny Benassi radio, probably. But his song came on. It's the first time I ever heard it, and I was like, oh, because the bass like doom doom. Doom. I was like, okay, I fucking tripping balls, smoking hookah, and I'm just hearing this dope ass 808. I'm like, man, that shit like really, you know, it's really awesome. That like euphoria and that connection you get with songs, especially like EDM, and when you're like taking drugs or like psychedelics, it's a special connection. It really does make an imprint on your brain, so that even when you're not doing any drugs, like the song still is amazing because of the message and because you like the music, but because you were tripping and listening to it, it just has a different feeling for you.
Yeah, because I remember like I've listened to 7 Lines before, and then when I was tripping on acid, I was like, it's completely different. Like it was so weird because I guess the best way to explain it was that like I almost could see like the soul of like the music itself, like what he was under making this music, which makes no sense because like at the time I was like, man, this makes so much sense. Like I connecting the pieces, and then when you're sober, you're just like, what was I thinking just now?
No, that's a real thing. When they're okay, so you ever heard of not Zed's Dead, which I love. They're not their songs aren't as awesome as I liked them back in the day. But not Zed's Dead, I'm talking about the Grateful Dead. You ever heard of them?
Yeah.
Okay, so in this article, I read this scholarly article. I talked about it in the last episode. The last episode, right? Anyway, talking about basically rave spirituality, and they mentioned in the article that there is evidence of, or there is truth to ravers having this like spiritual connection with the DJ, because these deadheads, people who follow are avid followers or listeners of the Grateful Dead, which my boyfriend is, Michael, they have claimed like back in the 60s, they like had like actual recordings of these people talking about like how they actually felt like they had like this psychic connection with the artist playing. And even the artists themselves were saying like, you know, they mentioned something in the article, but saying like, you know, we're flowing, like we're, you know, we're connecting, like it's a real thing. You know what I'm saying? So you saying that you could almost like feel what he was feeling when he made the music. Like you understood why he made that pitch so high, or that he held on to those strings a little bit longer and then let go abruptly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's a real fucking thing.
That's crazy, because like I didn't know that. Because I heard like the effects of like acid, and I was just like, yeah, like of course, like, you know, for me, like I'm open to whatever, and then I wanted to try it, and especially as a creative, like, you know, in the photography field, I wanted to see like how it would be.
See the colors.
Yeah, which is funny because I didn't know how long the trip would last.
Forever. It's fucking forever.
So I was just like I had a photo shoot that day, and I was like, like, oh my God, like, how long is this supposed to last? And it lasted like 12 fucking hours. Yeah. And I was like, so I was tripping balls like throughout that photo shoot. I just told her, I was like, I'm tripping balls, man. Like, if I'm acting weird, it's because of that. Just
damn, so you know, that's crazy. So you and Jeep are still doing it though. We should do an episode just talking about. I'll do some research on like the different effects of the different like psychedelics, or just the different drugs people take at festivals, because people take all different kinds of things to because everybody's brain works differently. Yeah. You know, everybody wants to connect in a different way. Not everybody wants to be smoking weed, because you know, I love weed, but to be honest, like before I smoke it, I'm super fucking anxious and super paranoid, because that's how my brain is wired. Like, so when I drink and I'm fucked up, I'm like, okay, let me hit that blunt, like let's get high. But before, I'm like very anxious, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm gonna be in my head. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'd rather, you know, pop a pill and get loosey goosey instead. You know what I'm saying? Shit.
Yeah. No, it's I think I just lost my train of thought.
It's okay. Okay, we'll bring it back after we talk about a little bit about your goals and stuff. So, where do you see yourself in like 5 years, you think?
Man, 5 years. I mean, I would like to hope that my photography is at a point in 5 years that, you know, I'm known in the community, because I kind of like cross platforms, like where, you know, I'll do like festival music, like concert photography, and then I'll go to cosplay because, like, you know, I love anime, and then I'll just do even fashion, because that's where I started. Like I did fashion photography, but but it seems like where it's headed towards is that a lot of people seem to like my aesthetic, especially goes well with like cosplay stuff. And
okay, so I'm cheating on this.
Oh shit. I hope not.
No, you can have us both. To be a 3-way relationship. But yeah, I mean, cosplay goes hand in hand with
making outfits, and like
and it crosses with the EDM community anyway, because a lot of people who when you go to a rave, you're playing out your fantasy, you know, and you're also you have a lot of people who are into anime. You're wearing a costume, like whether it's a bikini or it's a actual like a character
or a color, or
it doesn't matter. Like you're transforming into someone, and cosplay is that. I think, you know, I don't know much about it, but when I see it, people transform into like their alter egos, like who they would love to fucking be. I'd love to be a superhero.
Yeah, I told you to do cosplay.
Well, I want to go. I want to go to at least a convention, because I think that would be fucking awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm actually gonna go to a convention Friday. Well, the weekend.
This Friday?
This Friday, yeah.
Oh, damn. See, it's too late in the game for me right now. I got plans.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, you can do the ones here in Chicago. Like, the one that I'm going to is in Wisconsin. But there are obvious, like, ones that are, like, really big, like in L.A. or...
So is it once a week or once a month?
So what it is like, it's kind of, like, random in terms of, like, the day, but they kind of fall in the same, like, days that they were the year before.
Kind of like festivals, like they're around the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Like Spring Awakening will happen like sometime in June.
Yeah.
So the same thing with like here in Chicago, one is like called ASUN, Anime Central, and that's like, it usually falls like I think in May. But yeah, like in general, like it's never too late. Like you can There's always next year.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm worried about is expenses, you know, because those costumes are fucking expensive.
I don't know. To be honest, like I don't know how cosplayers do it. As a person
Patreon.
that has like, that's probably like
For real.
I think that's what it is.
Nothing against Patreon. I'm just poking fun.
Yeah, it's like for photographers like me, like I can charge people when I go there to take pictures, and then they actually book me to like do like, you know, the certain aesthetic that I do.
Yeah.
And then, but I don't know how cosplayers, like, I don't know. They're the ones paying, like, you know, to go there, to get the ticket, to pay me to, like, take pictures of them. It's like...
Oh, so they pay for your ticket to go, too?
Well, no, it basically, because, like, X amount of people book me, like, it kind of pays for itself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so then it's like... But...
So you're paying to get paid anyway?
Right, yeah. So
okay.
The exchange is a little bit bigger on my end. But I don't know how cosplayers do it, so...
Yeah, they fucking hustlers.
Yeah,
that's what it sounds like.
That's exactly it.
Okay, well, I wanted to talk a little bit about, before we wrapped anything up, I did want to talk a little bit about some statistics about soldiers, because this is supposed to be more so about soldiers and about, you know, what we go through and the trials that we experience. So statistically, the suicide rate is pretty high right now, and it has like risen in the last year. It's risen, but in the last like 10 years or 8 or 9 years, it's went up a lot. So just to go over them, so suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the U.S. Period, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But so that means 47,173 deaths caused by suicide. This was 2017. This is the earliest record that we have, is 2017. And I got these statistics from different reliable sources. One is onceasoldier.org, afsp.org. These are like suicide and mental health websites that are trusted. mentalhealth.va.gov. So these are reliable statistics that I'm letting you guys know. So, and with the 47,173 actual deaths, that's 1.4 million attempts. Out of that, wow, the 47,000 deaths, and then 6,000 over 6,000 of them are military personnel, veterans. And that means that is 129 suicides a day, on average, 130, and it's about 17 to 20 suicides per day for veterans. So, like, just think about that. Like, 20 veterans killing themselves every day.
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember when I was talking to, like, my therapist, I was like, I showed him this article about, like, this man, like, he committed suicide because, like, the VA, like, took too long, like, to help him. And I was just like,
damn.
Yeah.
Was this recent?
Yeah, I want to say, like, I don't know if it was this year. Yeah, it was this year. Like, earlier this year, where I showed it to him, and I was just like, that just got me kind of sad. I was like, I was telling him, I was like,
it breaks my fucking heart.
Yeah.
Just to think myself, like, I've wanted to die a lot, but luckily I've never actually did the deed. Like, I never was successful with it. Thank God. And luckily I did get some help, and I've also had, like, family support too. A lot of people don't have family support.
Yeah.
It's
pretty blessed, like, to have, like, my wife, like, care so much, and, like, my family.
Yeah. And also, like, my Rave family too. Like, they don't know that about me too much. Well, I guess they know now, but but that's not something that I, like, talk about often, right? Because when I'm with them, like, I'm very happy. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not sad and I'm not depressed when I'm at the rave or when I'm, you know, with the Chicago Shufflers dancing and stuff. That's not something that I actually need to talk about, because during those times, those are pretty happy times, and they, like, keep me level. But that's crazy. 20 people a day on average. And a lot of them is because they couldn't get the help. Like you said, your friend, like he couldn't get the help. Well, you said it was your friend, right? Or
No.
Your friend of a friend.
Well, it was like an article that I was showing him because.
Oh, okay.
Because I was complaining about like how long the process is, like in terms of like, not necessarily to get the help, but even like, to get
medical care.
Yeah, like it's a long process. Like and it's not even like, the help. It's like you have to like do paperwork. You have to like, they have to ask you all these questions before you even get your help, and it's like.
You got to go through tests. You got to you got to stay in the hospital for a while.
Yeah.
Like they're not. I don't have no gripes against the VA.
Yeah.
They do have a lot on their plate. They do have a lot of backdated soldiers, like especially during like Vietnam. Those are the ones with the highest suicide rate. Yeah. Actually, those men and women are the ones who commit suicide the most, and it's really because they haven't. Back then it wasn't as easy. It wasn't as easy as it is today. I mean, it's not easy today, but it's easier. Yeah. It's easier than it was, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
How many years ago? I can't do math.
And what's even like what's more interesting is that for a while, like even when you were telling me, like I didn't know anything about the process, and like the process itself, like in knowing where to go, just like who to ask. That was hard.
Yeah,
because that's what discouraged me.
Because when you seek for help, when you get help, you get money, and they don't want you to get money.
Right.
Like that's not something. They're not trying to give you any money. That's just the truth. Yeah. Like their job is to give you help with medicine, with therapy, and that stuff works too. But because of your mental illnesses and your psychotic breaks, like you can't work. A lot of people can't work. Yeah. And I know this is a little bit off topic, but think about it. Like military life is tough. It's hard. But think about, just regular people, walking around who experience PTSD because of their living situation, because of their poverty or their skin color. Like, there are a lot of people who actually have, PTSD from like generational PTSD, you know what I'm saying? And they don't get any help.
Right.
They can't even afford to get it from the government, like any good help. So, I feel blessed in that aspect, but we're in a crisis with the medical care here in America. That's for sure.
Because like if it wasn't for being in the military, when would have been the last time that I went to like a hospital to even get checked?
Yeah. You talking about like mental health?
That and like just anything in general. Like,
true.
It's like, I mean, there is like health insurance and stuff, but it's like it's like expensive for like most people, and it's like
hell yeah.
And like even just seeing like a therapist, which like everyone should see a therapist, like healthy or not, like they like that would not have been like in my mind at all to even talk to somebody about anything.
Yeah. So definitely. So it has its pros and cons, like, but I don't know. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. I could go either way, and I think it also just depends on the person too, because for us, like, we've had to fight for our benefits. Yeah. That's not something that you just get to get. You don't go to the military and you just get your benefits. Like, you have to fight for them. You have to, like you said, paperwork. Yeah. Meetings, proof. Why do you deserve this? Why, because it's money. Yeah. Just because you go to the military does not mean you get free health care when you get out. Sometimes it doesn't even mean you get free education, depending on what discharge you get. Yeah. And a lot of people, around the time they made weed legal, they were kicking people out left and right, trying to get people out on smoking weed, and just they were cracking down because they were downsizing. You know what I'm saying? Ruining people's lives because they, giving them dishonorables or other than honorables, making sure that they don't even get education. You can't go to school for free if you have a other than honorable.
There was like a few people when I left the unit, my specific unit at 27 in 29 Palms, some of the Marines that in that chain of command, like they actually got out, even though they finished their term. Like some of them were 5 years, some of them were 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like they finished it completely. Like they got out with an other than honorable.
Mm-hmm.
And if people don't know, like, so other than honorable is like you don't rate the GI Bill, which is like a really big like thing for a lot of people, which is like why they joined the military,
mm-hmm.
for like free education. And so like they just got kicked out because like the chain of command was like, you know, they just didn't care like what was happening to like these other Marines that got out with other than honorable. And they just like they did their time too and everything. Like they just, you know, they just kind of like were sliding by whatever, and they didn't get it. Like,
and your chain of command kicked them out with my chain of command did the same thing with me. Now, like I had a lot of mental issues after deployment, and I had a lot of trouble adjusting. So, you know, and I didn't get the love and the compassion that I needed. And not saying I needed people to hold my hand. Like I was sick, you know what I'm saying? Right. I needed somebody to actually care about me. And even though I did start to go to therapy before I got out, like my chain of command didn't care. Like that was the problem.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Yeah, like the people who I'm supposed to deploy with and the people that's supposed to like have my back, like they didn't care about me. And I'm not talking about every single person, because I did have some good sergeants, some good NCOs. And I'm not blaming everybody. I was difficult to be around too sometimes, but just overall, just that lack of care really fucked me up. And then having to get out with an other than honorable, and then having to spend the last 2 years after that fighting for my benefits, figuring out being a fucking lawyer and detective, and you know what I'm saying, right. Not being able to work, and it's just a lot, you know what I'm saying. We can go on for a minute about it, but you know, these 20 suicides a day is a problem. Mm-hmm. And we gotta. I feel like I just read an article actually yesterday about the VA. It had made a statement about the high suicide rate. Like literally just like a few days ago, they made a statement about it, and they said that they need help. They were like, we need help from our local and state governments, and just like healthcare facilities. Like we need help. We can't do all this by ourselves. Like we're struggling, and I feel that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At least they asking for help, and because these soldiers, they need it. The veterans need it. You know, we need it. And luckily, you and I have this platform, this outlet, this community, this Rave community to be able to help us with those burdens, with those thoughts and heartaches. As far as for people who are out there, veterans, and not just veterans either, for everybody out there, if you are thinking about taking your life, or even taking someone else's life, because I know it's hard out there for a motherfucking pimp, okay? I know that people be getting on your motherfucking nerves, but don't kill them, all right? Seriously, though, if you guys are going through anything, you guys need to call the crisis line, the crisis hotline. It's 1-800-273-8255. You just press the number 1, and you'll be connected with somebody. You're on a confident support line. It is 24/7. 365 days out of the year, and the responder, they will work with you. They're going to help you through whatever personal issues or crisis that you have. It does not matter what it is. If you just need to talk to somebody, call them and talk to them. Even if the thoughts that you're having involve you wanting to harm someone else, make sure that you call them if you can't talk to anybody else. And then you can also decide how much information you want to divulge to them. Like, you don't have to tell them everything. They're just there to listen and to give you guidance. But again, that's 800-273-8255. You press 1, or you can text, which I think is cool. You text the number 838-255. Yeah, and you could also, there's this other website called the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. that is afsp.org. And on there you can basically get some help. If you don't want to talk to anybody, you get some like material to read. If you attempted suicide, you lost someone, or if you're just worried about somebody that you know, or if you just want more info, it's a good place to go. You got any suggestions for our listeners to who are, you know, dealing with depression, whether you're a veteran or not, you know, just anything you want to leave them with?
I think the main thing that I've been concentrating in terms of like my mental health is literally to do what makes you happy. Like, I think
I like that.
That's like the end goal of anybody that's like trying to live is, you know, do what makes you happy. Is, you know, for me, like obviously like I found my way through photography, but yeah, literally like do anything that makes you happy. Because I have this conversation with my wife where like she feels like she's so busy with like her 9 to 5 that she doesn't have like any hobbies to like do, like to invest in, because like, you know, she's just working and then tired. Working and then tired. It's like, you know, if I got like a degree and that's what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life, like I don't, you know, whatever, like I'm not gonna do that. Yeah
I feel that. Do what makes you feel freaky, like seriously, because I have done a lot of things in my life that I thought were just the things that I was supposed to do. You know, it's very scary being an influencer, or thinking that, you know, you're going to make money on the internet, because it's not traditional. Even though our generation is not like boomers or anything like that, we were still brought up to go to school and get an education, and it's different for like my little brother or like somebody who's like growing up like 8-9 years old right now. Like their whole outlook on like job security and just career in general is going to be totally different, you know. So us taking the non-traditional route, you being a photographer, me doing influencing and podcasting, like it's something that we love and something that I feel like we're really good at. And you know what I'm saying? Yeah. We only get one fucking life, and I think that we should totally go for it. And if you're out there and you're trying to decide if you should be pursuing your dreams, the answer is fuck yes. Do it. Yeah. Do it. Fuck everybody else. Do it.
I completely agree, man.
For real.
I don't know, man. Like ever since then, like I've been slowly like climbing out like of like this mental hole that I've been in. So like,
hell yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Because I tried to do like more traditional jobs, like try to get like a security job. I even went and did Uber because I couldn't sleep, so I drove at night, and I just couldn't do it. Like it put me even further into the hole more than anything. So yeah, do what you love.
For sure. All right, bro, I appreciate you being on the show. You want to go ahead and leave them with your Instagram, social media, your website?
Oh yeah. So you could reach me at
my number is no.
Yeah, you could reach me at on Instagram 3_ SIXTUS 3_. When you click on the page and you see a bunch of blue and pink, that
neon colors.
Yeah, that's me.
Awesome. And is your website in your link? Like a link in the bio?
So my website is also on Instagram, but it's pretty easy. It's my name. It's www.JustinEvangelista.com.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, guys, make sure you follow my boy Justin. He is an amazing photographer and an even more amazing friend. I appreciate you being on here, sharing your story.
Thank you.
Letting everybody know.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, for sure. I wouldn't have anybody else for this topic. I don't know about any other. No, just playing. But for sure. But you guys, if you have any other suggestions for the show, or if you would like to have your story featured on this segment, Raves Heal, make sure you email me at plurpodcast@givemeplur.com. I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Peace, love, unity, respect. Give Me Plur out.
Be all like, why is he
When
sitting?
do you do this?
Why is he sitting weird?
When do you do this? Squeeze your balls.
That's
Or
what
if you
happened.
lean back, you can have a leg under the other.
See, but then I'm too far. And then if I sit like this, it's like uncomfortable.
What about this? This is comfortable right here.
I mean, theoretically, I would just want to sit like this.
I mean, if you hold it, you're gonna get tired. So I don't know if you can.
You could, yeah, you can definitely hold it. We could actually hold it. We don't have to have it on the stand.
But the thing is that if
You have to-
close, it's gonna be a loud as fuck.
Just
I
to-
listen to podcasts where they're just laughing too loud in the mic. 'Cause it-
Take it off. Take it off. Let me see. Let me see you hold it. See if that
Wait,
works.
what's it?
Pull it out, like like how you are. No, slide it
Oh,
out.
slide it out.
Yeah, like that. Okay. Go ahead and talk.
So how does it sound if you hold it like this?
So how is
I would have
your
to turn it down a little bit.
house process going?
What process?
Tell us about what you're gonna do next.
See, the thing with politicians is that
What's that have to do with anything?
I don't know.
She's making conversation.
Yeah, it's taking conversations.
You look really pretty
Politics,
today.
weather.
Wait, do you not want me to take this off? Do you want to walk around?
Y'all so cute. Okay, can you talk a little bit more? Sorry, I just need to hear about
Tell
this
me
now.
about your civilian life now.
So basically, I stay at home and do nothing because I'm depressed as fuck.
So you admit that you do nothing
Unlike,
at home.
well, part of that is the lack of motivation and no energy. Definitely a chemical imbalance, as they say, with like how doctors.
Okay.
As they say.
The only thing is I just need to pull this down. I need this. I need this to go down some more. Okay, there we go. It's too much head. Or
Do you hear anything when I tap it?
Also,
Yeah,
if you
I
need
turned
more-
it down.
If you need more light, I have my lights thing.
this could go brighter.
This is really bright.
This could go brighter.
Girl, trying to blind me.
Okay,
It's got my
so
lipstick done. Okay.
let's see.